Hi guys, it's Rach. Recently I started a series of videos where I did the best of or my top 5 favourite within a particular category, and today I thought I would do makeup brushes. These are my favourite, most used makeup brushes. Some of them are old favourites, some of them are quite new. I've actually picked 10 this time, and I think whether you're a beginner or somebody who already has a makeup brush collection, it's a great way for you to see which brushes I favour over others, because I have a ton of brushes, I really do, but these are the ones I go for the most. If I do have any sort of more affordable options, I will list them in the description box below so you guys can see, for those of you who may be on a tighter budget. But today I've picked just my absolute favourite, whether they be pricey or whether they be more affordable. There's a range of both. So hopefully you guys will enjoy them, and I'm going to jump straight in. Starting off with the Sigma Tapered Face F25 brush. I recently got this in the Sigma Tech Essentials set. It was sent to me to try and I was just so impressed with this brush. This is quite a tapered face brush. It has quite a significant point there. It tapers out, it's quite thin, but I just find that I can use this for so many different things. I can use it for face powder, for like bronzer, contour, highlight, blush. Because it has that taper, the more pressure that you press, you can get a more diffused, I guess, placement, or if you sort of keep it light, it can be quite defined because you do have that point. This is such a soft brush. It is just, it's so lovely to use and so versatile. I just find myself using this every day and wanting more of them, because I feel like I constantly have to clean it or make sure that I don't have too much bronzer on it and then try and use it for powder under the eyes, and all of a sudden I put brown like right up underneath there. This next brush has quickly become my favourite foundation brush, probably of all time, which is a very big call. This is from IT Cosmetics. It's the Heavenly Luxe Complexion Perfection No. 7 brush. It's actually a double-ended brush. It has an all-over side and a concealer side, which makes it really convenient. But I feel like it's the right size, it's the right shape. It has that little sort of bit of a dome, which works well for sort of getting around the face. It has enough give in it that it sort of feels soft and comfortable. It's not too dense. I feel like it buffs product in well without sort of just pushing the product around. You can kind of stipple, you can buff and blend. I love it. I really love it. And having the concealer side is also fantastic. Great for sort of dabbing on, spot concealing, for under the eyes, whatever you want to do. I reach for this every single day now. It gives me the perfect finish for foundation, and I love it. This one's a little bit of a luxury, but I decided to include it. It is the Hakuhodo Blush Brush. I'll insert the exact name of it in the description box below, because Hakuhodo brushes just have sort of letters and numbers, and I bought this one before they started printing it on there, so I don't actually know. But this has to be like probably the softest brush I've ever owned. When I got it, I just wanted to rub it all over my face. I picked it up at IMATS a few years ago. I use it for blush mainly, just applying it to the cheeks. It feels nice. It's a luxury experience when you use this brush, but you can use it for other products. If you wanted to buff in bronzer, you could. If you wanted to sort of put a little bit of highlight right on the end, you could sort of swirl it in there. But it's one of those brushes that if you want to have something that's really luxe and lovely to use in your collection, this one is it. A more affordable brush, and one that I use so much, this one is the Real Techniques Contour Brush. It's probably one of my favourite Real Techniques brushes. Maybe it is my favourite Real Techniques brush. This one has just that domed shape. It is slightly tapered at the end, and it's quite small if you compare it to, say, the foundation brush there. You can see that it is on the smaller side, but this one's great. You can apply foundation with it if you want to be a bit more precise. You can buff cream contour in, you can do powder contour if you want to, highlight, any kind of cream products, cream blush, concealer under the eyes, or sort of in large sections. It's just a really nice brush. Because it is synthetic, I find that it works really well with cream products particularly, which tends to be what I use it for. And I don't know, it's just the right size, the right shape, the right price. Really like this one. It's worth having in your collection. I have an eye brush here. This is the MAC 217. This has to be one of the most sort of used brushes on YouTube. It is a domed eyeshadow brush. It does have a pinched ferrule, so you do have that flat shape there. It seems to be just the right size and the right shape to apply eyeshadow. I remember when I first started watching videos, everybody was all about the flat shader brush. I never use a flat shader brush for eyeshadow anymore. I'm always using brushes like this, and there are many dupes on the market, ones from Sigma, from Zoeva, from basically every single brand, but I still come back to the original as being quite good. It does have a stiffness to it, which allows you to be able to apply like opaque shadow on, but then it also has enough softness in it that you can buff shadow into the crease. I like the fact that it is pressed together because you can kind of control, depending on which way you use, whether you use it sort of vertically or horizontally, where your product is going to go. And it's one of those brushes that I find that I rarely ever apply eyeshadow without picking up this brush. In tutorials, maybe because I tend to try and use different brushes and do different techniques, but on an everyday basis, this one comes up a lot. This one is another favorite that I've had for a very long time. This is the Hakuhodo J163HS. I have a secondary one of these and I bought this one more recently, and that's why it's got the actual number printed on it, but I got my first one of these right at my first ever eye match, I think, and I have been using it and loving it ever since. It's an angled eyeshadow brush, but it has quite short bristles, which I find just makes it easier to control. I really like using this for eyeliner if I'm buffing out or trying to spread out maybe pencil liner that I've applied. This one works really well and I feel like I've got quite a bit of control with it. I also use this a lot for eyebrows. That's why I ended up with two, because I wanted one for sort of liner and one for brows, because whenever I'm going through a powder brow phase, this tends to be the brush that I use for whatever reason. I go for it over all other angled brushes. I think it's the size, the shortness of the bristles and sort of the width of it just seems to work perfectly for me, and I really, really like that one. You can also use this if you want to sort of clean up lip liner, if you want to sort of buff out product underneath the lash line, on the upper lash line, whatever. Angled eyeliner brushes are very versatile, and this one just happens to be my favourite. A more recent angled brush that has made its way up into the favourites category is this one from Sigma. This one is the Winged Liner EO6. Now this one gets a special mention on top of having another angled brush in here because I like this best for gel eyeliner. I just find that because it is so small, like even comparatively, you can see that it's quite a bit thinner, and like the width is smaller than a lot of other angled eyeliner brushes. It just gives you the control that you need to create that winged eyeliner with gel, which is probably the hardest way I find for me to apply winged eyeliner. I tend to use liquid eyeliner pens more frequently, and therefore I find that to be easier, but this brush has just been the easiest that I have ever used for applying winged liner. It cleans up well, it gets a really nice crisp line, you have a lot of control. Really, really like that one. If you've tried a million eyeliner brushes like I have, you need to try this one. One more eye brush before we move back to the face. This one is the Zoeva Luxe Petite Crease Brush. And this one I've had for a little while now. I got it in my first ever Zoeva order, and I've actually got a secondary one because again I use this one so much. This one is kind of, I guess, it's a lot more tapered than your domed shadow brushes, as you can see here. This one is a lot more defined. It's not quite as stiff and as pointy as a pencil brush, so I like it for the in-between kind of thing. I feel like I can use it like I would a pencil brush to sort of blend out shadow, to get really precise placement for right in the inner corner of the eye, but then I can also sort of press a little bit harder and use it just to really define that crease. If I want to do more of a cut crease, or I want to put a deeper shadow right in there, I can use it to softly blend out lines. If I've done like a winged liner look or something like that I want to blend out. It's just a really, really versatile brush, and I think having this one and then having a domed shadow brush like this and then maybe an angled liner brush, you can basically do everything that you need to do on your eyes with these brushes. So I really, really like that one from Zoeva, and it's so soft, such great quality, and quite inexpensive as well. The last few brushes I have to show here, one of them is the Inglot 4SS. I saw Sharon Farrell use this so much in her tutorials, and one day I was at IMAX and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to get it. And I know why she loves it, because it's just a great brush. It's a domed brush, which I think may be supposed to be used for eyeshadow. I don't know. I think it's way too big for the eyes, but I really love it for applying powder on the face, for getting really precise placement, whether it be under the eyes, around the nose, on the nose, through the center of the face. I also use it for contouring sometimes because it's a nice size. It's not so small that you're going to end up stripy, but it's not so large that you're going to end up with like this giant line of contour powder there. It also has enough softness to it, enough give that you can use to sort of blend out. You can use it for highlighter. It's just a really nice brush. I find it better for powder products, but in a pinch I can also use it for like cream products for buffing concealer under the eye, and it does a good job. I just find that I need to wash it out sort of straight away before I use it again. Now for number 10 I have 2 brushes because I couldn't quite decide which one I wanted to include. They're both useful, but I feel like they're both I've kind of covered other brushes within the collection that I might be able to use for these ones. I don't know. Anyway, the first one is the GOSS number 2 brush. I really like this one for quite similar things to the Real Techniques contour brush, but whereas this I'll use for cream products, this one I'll use for powder products. You can see they're quite a similar size and shape. The GOSS one is a little bit more tapered at the end, and for that reason I like to use it for highlight. Again, I can use it for contour, for a more precision placement of bronzer, for blush, for under eye powder, for just powder on the face. It's a very, very versatile brush, very, very soft. It's kind of got that Japanese feel to it. You know that whenever you're buying Japanese made brushes, they are always such high quality, so soft, so well made, and this one's no exception. These are pricey brushes, but I definitely think that they are worth it, and it's probably my favorite of the one of my favorites from the GOSS brushes that I do own. And the other brush that tied at number 10 is actually a lip brush. I realized that I hadn't included a lip brush, and this one's relatively new to me. It's not so much this brush per se, but it's talking about square lip brushes. I hadn't tried a square lip brush properly until semi-recently. I'd used them before but didn't actually have one of my own in my collection, and since having this one I find that I really do like the square lip brush shape to apply lip products. For whatever reason I just find it really easy to get a crisp line. It's easy to get that cupid's bow, and this one here, which is the lip brush from Charlotte Tilbury, I think I didn't actually mention that, is a nice one. It's the only one that I have that's kind of this shaped in my collection, which is why this one got the win. I haven't really got to compare it with any others, but it is a lovely brush. It does work really, really well, and obviously I love the packaging of these ones. The Night Crimson with the rose gold, 100% like Rachael packaging, so I do really like that one there from Charlotte Tilbury. So they are my favorite, most used, most recommended brushes. I hope you guys have found this video helpful. I would love it if you could share your favorite, most used brushes that you would recommend to me and to everybody else in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. I will have all these brushes listed below and where you can get them. I'll also try and include any dupes or similar brushes for the ones that are a bit more expensive, some more affordable alternatives for those of you on a budget. My social media links will be there as well, as always, so make sure you check them out. And if you're wondering about the makeup on my face, I actually did a Gigi Hadid inspired makeup tutorial from her MTV VMAs look from this year, so I will have that linked in the description box below if it's already up, or I will include a link once that video is there. If it's not up, make sure you keep an eye out for it. Okay, I've talked clearly way too much, so I'm gonna go. I hope you guys are all doing really, really well, and I will see you all next time. Bye!